Hey everyone, hello and welcome to my studio. Thank you for joining me. You found Cards by Cheryl. My name is Cheryl Horvath and I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Woodinville, Washington. Welcome. Tonight I'm going to, I say tonight because it is nighttime. Usually I do recordings in the morning, but it's 5:30 and husband is out golfing, so I had the house to myself. It's nice and quiet. And except for the fan blowing in the background because it's like about 110 degrees here today. No, it's not really, but it feels like it. So anyway, I wanted to share with you a couple of paper pumpkin alternate designs for the July, what's it called? July Sending Good Thoughts. The July Sending Good Thoughts kit. So I have a couple other things up my sleeve for this kit that I'm going to reserve for a later time because I think it's super fun and I want to kind of announce it to my team and my Paper Pumpkin subscribers first, and then I'll let you guys all take a look at it. But I'm kind of excited to show a fun new project that will be a recurring series for me with Paper Pumpkin. So anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. So let me turn the camera down and I'm going to show you what we're up to tonight. So my first alternate, which I'm not going to demo because I feel like it's kind of self-explanatory. It's very cute. All I did basically was I cut apart, this is a basic white cardstock that came from my own personal stash. Then I cut apart the card bases that are the fresh freesia. I cut them in half so that I could have double the use of the paper because you really don't need full color on the back of your card. At least I don't think so. So I cut them apart and that doubles my basically card bases that I can use for the kit. So this is one of the first alternatives I came up with. Everything came in the kit. Yes, even this. So the banner was included. The coral, everything here, you could make this card with everything that came with the kit. The only thing I really kind of jazzed up was I cut a strip and flagged each end for the sentiment. So just a different layout design for you. And then for the inside, I had an extra strip of the fresh freesia. It wasn't as long as I wanted, but it actually still, I think it looks okay, even though it's just a piece of it. I tried running it left to right this way, and I didn't like how it looked. So I just stamped it using the stamp that comes with the kit. This little stars, starfish and bubbles stamp set. So I just repeated stamp that in fresh freesia and put my sentiment in there. And so there's my first alternate. My second alternate, which I will demo for you, you guys have probably already seen all of the designed cards that were designed for you in the Paper Pumpkin kit. So I did one up of each design. This is actually my favorite. Well, you're going to find out that I use the ship a lot because I really liked the ship and I colored it up for you. So these are the 3 cards that came in the kit as designed, and I only made one of them. One of each because I wanted to use the other parts and pieces for my alternate designs. So the first one we're going to demo is let's do this one. Looks like this. Ta-da! Isn't it pretty? I love it. I love these colors. I am a big fan of Bermuda. This tricolor, these particular colors together. So this card came together really easily. This background is one of the card bases that comes in the kit. It's got the clouds and then the ocean below. And so you can see I strategically cut that so that the clouds were in the top and the ocean was in the bottom when it comes through the window. And then the bottle, we're going to talk about how I made that. I fussy cut out the ship and then I popped it up on some dimensionals to give it some nice dimension, and then this is stamped off Memento Black for a light gray color, and I thought that just finished off the card nicely. So that's the card we're going to make today. Let's get to it. I have prepared a bunch of pieces in advance, And this is the inside. We're going to save that. This is my card base. So the first things first, this guy right here is the card front, right? So we're going to stamp on that to get that out of the way. Holy man, it's hot in here. I have to put my hair up. I have a mound of hair, you guys. Not sure if you know this or not from my videos, but it's quite the mane, and it's super hot on my neck. So I don't look that great with my hair pulled back, but that's just going to have to work for tonight. So, so let me tell you the dimensions of this. We cut this at 3 3¾ by 5. And then that is going to layer on top of, oh yeah, I did this one a little bit different so I could maximize my supplies. So this one I did use the card base, the front and back, which I was bummed out after I did that because I'm like, I just wasted this whole back piece. So we are going to mount it onto a white card base. So it's going to go like this, and this is just going to have a little itty bitty white border, just 1/8 of an inch or a 1/16 on each side. And then this is going to go on top like that, and we're going to slide the ocean piece underneath. So the dimensions for the gray panel, you basically are going to cut this in half, but then you're going to shave off 1/4 of an inch off of each end. No, sorry, not 1/4, but 1/8. Someone's just pulling in my driveway. So you're gonna shave off 1/8 of an inch off each side of your half of your card base. So that means this measures 4 1/8, and this should be 5 3/8. I don't know if you can see that or not. So, and that's going to leave just a really teeny tiny white border there. And then this one I did cut a little bit smaller because I wanted a bigger gray border. And so to measure that out, we did this 3 3/4 by 5. Okay. Then if you don't have, you might have a circle punch that is this size. This is the stylish. The size of the diameter of this circle punch is about 2½ inches. It's actually 2½ with 1/16. So what is that? 2, 4, 6, 8, 9/16. It's actually 2 9/16, but let's just call it 2½. And the way I cut that out was with Stylish Shapes dies. Guys, this is a must-have for your stash, your arsenal. They're wonderful. And it gives you a nice center circle that you can reuse on another project. And so I always keep those. In fact, I still have it. It's right here. So keep your inner circles because they're stitched inside and they're stitched on the outside. So these are awesome dies. They've got banners, squares, and circles. So that's what I used. I used the second largest die, and I didn't use any exact science. I basically I wanted it in the lower part of the card, but not in the center. I wouldn't even call it lower third, but maybe it is lower third. I just kind of eyeballed it. I like to have like the same amount of space from here to here, from here to here. So this is a little bit wider. I could have probably bumped it down just a smidge more, but it's not exact science. I don't want you to guys freak out and get stressed over where you're going to place your circle because it's not that big of a deal. Plop it down there wherever you're comfortable with it and just run it through so that you have your window cut. And that's going to be your card front, just like so. Okay, now for the background, what I did was I was kind of thinking on your behalf that, you know, maybe you don't have any more blue sky panels, or maybe you don't want to waste your, because it really is a pretty panel. I'm out myself from my kit, so I made one out of a piece of white cardstock and Pacific Point ink. If you don't have Pacific Point, you can use any blue, any sky blue, that would work. Again, don't stress yourself out over being exact on this. But I did cut this to 3.5 by 3.5, and I went deeper. I shaded much deeper on the bottom and graduated up lighter to the top, so that it gave the somewhat of appearance of ocean to sky. If you wanted to draw a line in there, or be more dramatic with a definitive horizon, you could do that, but I didn't think that was necessary. So there's my background. That's how I did that. Let's stamp the sentiment on real fast and get that out of the way. And I thought just stamping it straight onto this white spot up here was just clean and simple. And I'm all about clean and simple. I used Memento. I was going to do this as a live, but I chickened out. I don't know why I'm so afraid of doing lives. I'll get back into it. Okay, so just give that a good inking up. Put that away. Get this out of the way. Then what we're going to do is we're going to pop this panel up onto this. So you don't want to, I don't want to put this piece onto the gray first, because I want to be very precise about where I'm positioning the blue panel. So if I put it down here first and I don't have it in the right spot, it's too late. I can't fix it. So that's why I put this on there first. And the way I do it is I add dimensionals to they're not corners, but basically the corners of where this is. I feel like a light just went off on me somewhere. So just put, and then I just want to make sure they're all gonna, yeah. So if you wanted to put, yeah, I guess you could put, it'll fit without hanging over. It doesn't matter if it hangs over anyway. Let's do the full perimeter here, just to make sure it's nice and sturdy, it doesn't get squished in the mail. Okay, then I'm just going to take these off. Is it really hot where you guys are? It's just crazy, this weather we've been having. These poor people in Arizona that had the monsoons go through don't have AC. Well, I don't have AC here either. I'm in Woodinville, Washington. And it hasn't been that bad until today. But, man, it's muggy today. Okay, so I'm just going to hover. This is hard to do because my camera's right over my head. But I think that's in a spot where I want it. And just lightly press. Okay. So I do have one sticking out here, but that's okay, because we're going to just we're going to put dimensionals on the rest up here. So let's slide one there, because the whole panel gets popped up. You just want to put that blue part on first. I know it seems kind of fussy, but I just like to do it that way, so I know exactly where my blue is going to fall. So now these are popped up. We've got everything stamped. And, oops, that's not going to go there. It's going to go here, like so, onto this panel. And there's no more stamping to do, so we can go ahead and do that right now. And we don't want to put extra dimensionals on this part because it's already popped up, so we're going to put glue here. Oops, I did that one already. Come on. Even my green glue is flowing freely because it's so warm here. Okay. Let's get this That looks centered. Yep, pretty good. Okay, we're halfway done. Now, you can either use the bottle. Well, let's talk about the ship first. To save some time, I pre-stamped this in Memento Black, and I fussy cut it. It's really not that hard to fussy cut. I did about 6 of them last night, just sitting there watching YouTube videos and at my desk and fussy cutting. The colors I chose are the Stampin' Blends, but of course you can use whatever you like, whatever suits your fancy. I went with, where's my fresh freesia? So I went with these colors in that order. And then I used the Smoky Slate Light and Dark for the side sails. So let me just show you how fast these color up. This is the Bermuda Bay Light. And then I come in with the dark, and see where these little scratchies things are in the sails? I just color those in a little bit darker just to give it a little bit of shadow. That's all there is to it. And do the Balmy Blue. If you want to use the brush tip end, you can. Just for smaller areas like this, I find that the nib end is better. And then I'm just adding the dark, like that. Oops. Came out with the brush end anyway on this one. I'm really loving this month's kit. I got 2 of them because I always get 2. Sometimes I get 3 or 4. Next month with the sunflowers coming, I definitely am getting 3. I'm super excited about that one. If you like sunflowers. And there's also a free gift in the kit. There's going to be 8 sheets of gold foil pre-cut patterned kind of pieces that you get to use in making your cards. And I understand there are also going to be 2 ink spots instead of just 1. I'm going to set these aside and put them away later. Okay, see how simple that was? It's so bright and cheery, and it's going to go right there. Now, the bottle, this is the one that came in the kit. You could totally use this one. We can stamp on it if you want. See, the sample I made has the stamp inside of it. For my purposes though, the blue on this bottle matches this blue background better. It doesn't quite match the same for me on this one, so I'm going to opt to use one that I made. And I did a little video, I'll link it below in the details. I did a video already on how to create this bottle, but the bottle, so I made this basically from white cardstock using this vintage bottle punch, which coordinates with this kit. It coordinates with a new Christmas set that's out in the fall mini, and it coordinates with another set, a general all-purpose floral set in the annual catalog. So it's definitely a punch worth getting. You can get it standalone. I misspoke on my last video and said that you had to buy the bundle to get it, but I was in the online store today and saw that you can get the punch all by itself for $19. So I would not delay. I would get that punch for sure. Just get it. You'll love it. You can use it for wine cards, you know, florals. This could be a vase, whatever. Okay, so we're almost done, guys. The only thing we need to do, again, if you want to see how I did this, go watch that video. I'll link it below, but I'm not going to take the time to do it right now. I am going to add some twine, which the one that came in the kit has gone somewhere. So it's basically linen thread. It comes in a small spool. It comes with the kit. I don't know where mine went, so I'm using my other stash. But you just want to take about 9 inches or so. Again, not super precise. And I hold a little tail of it. I don't know about that long. How long is that? That's about 4 inches. So almost right in the middle. And I'm going to wrap this around, let's see, 4 times. You can do it less if you like. And, oops, over here. It's always fun tying bows on camera. So I'm just going to tie a knot on the left edge of the bottle, so over here on this side, because I want the tassel to kind of lean that way. So there's one knot. I'm going to tie another knot to secure it so it doesn't become loose. And then of course you've got to fuss with it. You can leave them loose like that if you want, and that's kind of a nice look. Or on the original card I did, I tied a little knot in the end right there. Can you guys see that? There's a knot right there that just kind of holds the two together. It gives it just a little different look. I'm actually liking the little wispy look of this. I think I'll cut it down maybe a smidge more like that, and then, boy, that really boinged it out, didn't it? Let's see here. Sometimes you can manipulate them a little bit. Yeah, that looks kind of cute. So now we're going to put our sailboat down, and we just want to put dimensionals. Actually, we're going to put our bottle down first because the boat's going to lay over the top of that, and if you put dimensionals on the boat and the bottle, you'll get double the lift, and you don't want to do that. So I just turn it over right in place where it should be, and that gives me an idea of where the dimensional needs to go and where the glue needs to go. So just like that. So I want the bottle to stick out kind of like that, maybe down a little bit further. So that's where I'm going to place it. So I'm just going to grab it, flip it over, so I know this is about the right spot for a dimensional, and this is a good spot. And then I'm going to put glue up here. Okay, then, because I've already lost my place, I'm going to put this back. This is called kind of dry fitting. And I'm just going to place that down and glue that down. So you've got nice dimension. Now, here, we don't need dimensionals anywhere right there. We might need a tiny one. You could actually just put it down. Let's use a mini one just in case, because we do not want it sticking out. So grab one of your minis and stick that right there, because that's going to cover the sail, and that'll give it some support right there too. And then we're just going to put some glue here. Take the backing off that. I love this card, you guys. It just feels very clean and simple and wispy and airy to me. Pretty. Okay. Last step is to glue this baby on. And you are good to go. If you want it, sorry guys, I have a really itchy nose today. If you wanted to finish the inside, what did I do? Oh yeah, I thought the fresh freesia would tie in nicely with here. I kind of felt like I needed to do something, but on this one, you know what? I'm just going to put in my regular insert, which is cut to 4 by 5 1/4. So you don't need to put a color behind it. I just like to put an extra panel inside, so the sturdiness of the back is similar to the sturdiness of the front, if that makes sense. So I would just glue this in, and you could do another ship sailing down in the corner. You could do a bottle. No, you don't have a bottle stamp for that. You could do a couple of the starfishes in the corners like that. You could do a couple of different things. So that's how I would probably finish this off. But there you go. So there's card number 1. I would love for you guys to give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment. Tell me if you like this or not. I'm interested in hearing from you on that. Okay, so the next card is going to be, I don't know if did I show you this? Ta-da! Going to be this one. Again, use of the sailboat and the bottle. Another version. This is kind of a different color scheme, but this is the one we're going to make next. I'm going to do a quick timeout for a sip. Oh. Okay. I wish it were cold. I'm just not a white wine drinker. Oh, there's my twine. I found it. I'm not a fan of white wine. For some reason, it gives me terrible heartburn. So this is another card that I used both sides of, which I was bummed about. So the pieces I prepped have a Bermuda Bay card base from my stash that I cut to, this looks like it's 4 by 5 1/4. I will just double check that for you. Yeah, it's 4 by 5 1/4. It fits on a basic card base with a little white border. So if you have extra pieces, like if you are able to cut these card bases in 2, so that you have double them, you wouldn't need to go into your private stash of paper to do this particular card. So that's what I did there, and then I cut up an envelope. And so we're going to cut this open and cut this down, and I'm going to show you. So this is going to be, the Bermuda Bay layer is 4 by 5 1/4, and so we're going to cut this down to be a 1/4 inch smaller than the Bermuda Bay. So I'll show you. So grab your cutting device. If I can keep this in camera for you. So here's your envelope. The way I do it is I just cut each end off so that this becomes open like that. Just a smidge, hardly any at all. You just need to get a nice clean cut on each edge. Oops, which I didn't cut all the way through here. Let's fix that real fast. I went a little bit too conservative. Okay, so now we have this lovely piece right here, which is our pool party. I think it's pool party, or it's a version of a shade of Bermuda Bay probably. So we're going to cut this down on the seam lines. You can use these scraps later if you want. But I remember I said we were going to cut this down even further. So this was going to be, let's see, the Bermuda Bay panel was 4 by 5 1/4. So we're going to cut this down to 3 3/4 by 5. I think that's right. Moment of truth. Perfect. Okay. So there's our card front, which will get put onto our card base. We'll do that at the end. Then we have some stamping to do, just to give it some interest in the background. And for that, I'm going to use my Stamp and Pierce mat. I'll flip this over. Guys, this is just cheap copy paper from your printer. Don't use your good stuff for stamping off. So the first thing I did was, let me just look at my cheat sheet here. Get this out of the way so I don't ruin it. First thing I did was I stamped the seaweed, I guess that would be in Bermuda Bay, but I stamped it off 3 times, or twice I should say. So we ink it up, stamp off once, stamp off twice, and then put some down here right in the corner. Just looking for a subtle idea of seaweed going on, like so. Then I took the starfish and bubbles stamp and did the same thing. Stamped it off twice up in the corner. No real pattern to this. Like that. And then I felt like this area over here, I did this after the fact, I felt like this needed some love. Like that. So there's our base, which is going to go onto here. Like that. Set that aside. We do have a little bit of stamping to do right here. So that is, I cut a piece of Bermuda Bay from my stash. Again, if you've got extras that you can use that comes from the kit, that's ideal. I just, like I said, I used up all my parts and pieces, so I went fishing for more. So this is, where my ruler went. This is 2 1/2 inches by 3. So 2 1/2 inches by 3, and then the white piece is a 1/4 inch smaller. So it's 2 3/8. Oh no, it's 1/8 of an inch smaller. So 2 3/8 by 2 7/8. Sorry about the eighths. I like just tiny borders sometimes, so that's why I don't go a full 1/4 inch. So for this, I just used the dots stamp, and I only stamped off once for this one. And I just did something like that, and something like that. Super easy. I think we're done with Bermuda Bay. Okay, we can glue this on to our background panel, our mat. Okay, so that piece is done. Next, we're going to need a piece of Bermuda Bay. Again, came from my stash, but that's for the thinking of you. And I don't know why, guys, but I don't like sentiments unless they're in black ink. Because I have so many thinking of yous, I'm going to put can't wait to see you. This kind of looks like maybe you're getting on a boat or getting on some mode of transportation to come see somebody, so it would be a fun card to send in advance. So the kit calls for it to be done sentiments in the Bermuda Bay, but I'm a rebel that way. Okay, so there's that. Put that away. And I'm going to just grab my snips. If you have the punch, that I cut it a little close here, so the punch wouldn't be ideal for this. So I'm just going to flag the ends by hand. And the way you do that is you just make a little cut in the center, and then you cut in to that cut. Like that. Okay, There's that. Okay, so we're done with this. We need to move on to the ship. Well, let's talk about the boat, or let's talk about this guy right here. I cut another one using my vintage bottle punch. If you don't have one and you ran out of the bottles that come with the kit, you can do a trace. Let's see if I can find one. Yeah. Well, this isn't... Here we go. These are all my parts and pieces that I have left over. If you don't have the punch and you're out of these pieces that come with the kit, just trace it and cut it out. Fussy cut it. You could trace this right onto whatever color. You could trace it onto balmy blue. You could trace it onto whatever color you wanted. So that would be super easy to cut out. A lot of people don't like to fussy cut. I love to fussy cut. A lot of my projects have fussy cutting in them, but I also am a huge fan of punches. So that just made life a little bit easier, but see how fast I did that? And then whatever color you trace this onto, you know, or you could color it with your Stampin' Blends, whatever. You've got lots of options. So there's just some ideas for you on that. But we are going to use my blue bottle since I have it already. And we do need to fussy cut this. And the colors I chose for the sails, Bermuda Bay, Balmy Blue, and then this is Crumb Cake because I wanted to tie it in with the little message in the bottle right there. So that's the other thing we need to stamp. I threw that onto a block and used Crumb Cake. And you fussy cut that too. Also very easy. Lots of straightaways. Just let your scissors do all the work and your left hand, if you're a righty, let your left hand guide it. Cut away that extra when you can because it gets in the way of you getting around your corners and stuff the way you need to. So there's our message. Well, I got my scissors handy right here. If you really wanted to just fussy cut it to that extent, that wouldn't look bad. Honestly, it wouldn't look bad. But I'm going to go a little bit more in depth here. But I want to show you how fast this goes, even when you're being precise. Don't worry so much about the little tiny nicks and crannies and things because no one's even going to pay that much attention. Like, I wouldn't need to be cutting in like this, but it's just because of I'm a perfectionist. So there. Again, this isn't totally not necessary, but it was a little bit of a wider line than I wanted, so there. Okay. Fussy cutting is done. Let's color these up really fast. And I couldn't think of a third color combination that I liked for the sails, so that's why I repeated the balmy blue, since that was the primary color in this card. And then instead of gray on the side sails, I used crumb cake to tie in with the color of the bottle that's in the, or not the bottle, but the message that's in the bottle. Okay. So, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I have some Paper Pumpkin subscribers that follow me. We do get together every month on Zoom. And basically what we do is we open the kit together. Of course, I've already opened mine, and I'm prepared for it because these guys like to see the new ideas that I come up with. But we basically do just what I'm doing now, where I've got myself on camera and then the focal point is really my desk, and we go through the instructions together if it's necessary. We spend about an hour and a half. I mean, you can stay on or off as long as you like, but it's just once a month we get together, we do it, and have a lot of laughs and come up with some great ideas. I get to see ideas that you guys have come up with. They get to see ideas that I've come up with, and it's just a great exchange of ideas and fun. So if any of y'all are interested, you don't need to be my subscriber, by the way. I don't require you to be a subscriber of mine to join the Zooms, but I do need to know if you want to join so that I can send you the invite, because I don't make the invite public to everybody. So drop me a message or a comment. Just let me know somehow. Okay, here I did a cap because I didn't like it open like that. So easiest way to do a cap, we're just going to cut it off. Well, no, I don't want to ruin that one. We're just going to take a piece of scrap paper that I just threw away, some away of. This right here. Oh no, that's pink. Just take a piece of scrap paper and cut a cork. And there's not even a specific, yeah, there's not a specific measurement. You just kind of eyeball it and go, okay, this looks like it could work. It's tiny though. I'm going to color it real fast with crumb cake. I'm not even going to shade it. Put a dab of glue on the very end of the cork. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. And then grab your bottle and just lay it down like so. There, now your bottle has a nice cute little cork, and you can throw that away again. I'm always fishing scraps out of my waste can because I'm like, oh wait, that'll work for this. I'm going to cut again about 9 inches or so. Do the same thing we did on the other one. And I think this one ties off to the right, yeah. Oops. Come on. It's a little loosey-goosey, but okay. Alright, so now we have this. This is a little bit long. So let's just trim those a bit. And I think we're ready to put this thing together. Okay. Let's glue this down. If you want to use your liquid glue or your tape runner, whatever is your adhesive of choice. I like the green glue a lot. And my brother makes these really cool green glue holders. If you want one, let me know. He prints them. Okay, so then this is going to get popped up onto the panel on the lower third with dimensionals. And one in the center. Now, did I put one in the... You want to be careful where to put your dimensionals up top because you need to be able to slide your bottle underneath there, and I think I did okay. Just in case, we're going to place our bottle down first. Why does this look bigger? Huh. It is bigger. That's weird. Maybe I'll turn it this way. No, I don't like that either. So my bottle's not going to have as much. I guess that one's okay. I like it better this up and down way. But I must have wrote something down wrong because the two don't match in size. Again, no card is perfect. It's handmade, and that's why they're so lovely to give out, because it's handmade and there's going to be imperfections in it. So I'm not going to smush that down super fast, super hard yet, because I want to, and it's okay if this is peeking off the top a little bit because there is some room up there with the white border. So now we're going to just glue this down flat. Slide that right under there, like so. Okay, now we can go ahead and press everything in because I like it. This is going to go here. We're going to put a little dimensional right there on the end. I think I need a mini for that. What would I do without these tweezers, you guys? I am a huge tweezer person. It just helps me, number one, it helps me keep glue off my hands. But sometimes your hands are get in the way of, like, when you're trying to place it, when you're using both hands to place it, you kind of, your hands are distracting you from really where you want it to position it. So if you use the tweezers, you can really see your surface area a lot better and get the placement you want the very first time. Like that. Then our sentiment, can't wait to see you. We're going to put another mini right here on the end. Some glue. I'm going to be picking up dimensional sheets forever tonight. Like so. Let's not forget our little message. I keep wanting to call this a diploma. Don't forget next summer when it's graduation time about this stamp set, because it makes a perfect diploma. Look. And I kind of have it running off the bottle a little bit, like it's almost sitting outside of it. If you wanted to make it look more realistic that it's actually inside the bottle, you could do that too. Like so. Last thing, sadly these polished dots I think are retired, but I have a slew of them, so I'm going to use them. Use whatever you have in your stash. If you've got pearls, you could use pearls and color them. And the other ones you could use, these are also retired, but if you have these, the lighter colors would look really pretty on there. I can't bring myself to open this pack because it's the last one I have. So I'm going to use these polished dots. So I colored, this is Bermuda Bay color, which I thought was too dark. So I grabbed the balmy blue and I colored these in balmy blue, but you can't really tell. So I'm just going to go with the simple clear and make these look like little water bubbles coming up from the seaweed down here or whatnot. I probably put way too more than I needed on here, but and then I'm gonna do another one right here so that we kind of have a trifecta going on, like so. And then let's get this glued down. Okay, there's our second card. What did I do on the inside? Oh, I did a little seaweed with the seahorse. I hadn't used the seahorse. I might as well, let's do that right now. I did not like the red seahorse in the kit. So, whatever about that. But you can't love everything all the time, right? I'm the kind of person where I'll tell you if I don't like it. Trust me, my Paper Pumpkin subscribers have not subscribed some months because I'm like, alright guys, I don't know about this one. And they thank me for it, but sometimes it's a crapshoot. You just never know. That's supposedly the fun part of it, right? Then I'm going to grab this little sky. And he's usually kind of, I don't know, hanging out here in these seaweeds, right? That's cute. And then write whatever you want on the inside. Oh, I hope this was cut down in advance, was it? Oh, phew. Yeah. I cut down panels that go on the inside. And sometimes I forget if I've cut them or not, but, and then I like to take my bone folder and just, sometimes there's a lip or kind of an edge that sticks up a little bit. Just seam that down. There you go. Okay. Those are my cards tonight. And, I did like this kit a lot. No joke. I liked it a lot. So here are the cards that we made today. And then if you want another glimpse at the other alternate I did, that's this one right here. And then stay tuned for some other fun stuff that's going to come out of Paper Pumpkin from me on a monthly basis. So I'm excited to share that with you. I'm just not quite ready yet. So soon though. All right, guys, that's it for me. I'm going to go cool off, sit on the patio for a bit because I think it's cooler out there. It's so hot back here in this office. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video or if you enjoyed the designs. I'd love for you to hit that subscribe button so that you can see more videos next time I share one with you. And hope you guys all have a crafty day and a crafty week. I'll see you next time. Bye. I'll find my mouse in this mess.